Hi everyone, and welcome back to the bench. Today we're going to be working on creating an environment monitor. Specifically, we will be using the BME680 sensors from Bosch to create a temperature, humidity and air pressure monitor that will go into a warehouse where we're going to be monitoring the conditions within that warehouse. And to control the sensor and to get the reading, we're going to be using an ESP32 that I'm going to flash with the Tasmota firmware so that we can communicate through MQTT, and we're going to be packaging everything into this electrical box so we can easily mount it to their own location. The BME680 sensor, it's really versatile because it can measure temperature, humidity, air pressure and volatile compounds within the air. So it doesn't measure for any specific gases or anything, but it can give you a good indication of what the air quality is, and that's something that we really want to monitor in this instance, not as a specific measurement of what gases, but as a general air quality index. And this is the one sensor that can give us all of the measurements. This is an sensor that communicates over I2C, so we're gonna be needing 2 communication wires from it as well as 2 power wires, and this one specifically is designed to be powered from 3.3 volts. On the sensor itself, there are 6 wires. The fire 2 on the right we will not be using today, but the one on the right is to be used as chip select if you have multiple sensors connected to the same microcontroller. But in this instance, we won't be having that problem because it's gonna be just the single sensor. But before we start making any connections, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is PCBWay. If you are a maker working on any type of project, PCBWay can make the entire process really easy. You can simply upload your design files, choose your specifications, and get high-quality PCBs made and delivered straight to your door. It saves a ton of time and removes a lot of the hassles from building your own electronics. And it's not just PCBs. PCBWay also offers services like CNC machining, 3D printing, and full PCB assembly. So, whether you are prototyping or building a finished product, you can do everything in one place. Their pricing is very affordable, especially for small runs, and the turnaround time is fast, which is perfect if you want to iterate quickly. If you've got an idea that you want to bring to life, check out PCBWay from the link in the video description to get a small welcoming bonus and get started today. Now, to start connecting everything up, we will first upload the Tasmota firmware to the device, and for that we will need to plug it into the computer. And with the device plugged into the computer, we can go to the Tasmota install page where we're gonna need to select a few things before we can connect and upload the right firmware to the device. Specifically, we have a selection with all of the versions from the Tasmota firmware that we want to use, but in our case we want to use the Tasmota Sensors variant because this is where the implementation for the actual I2C communication with the BME680 sensor is implemented. So we're gonna select that. You can choose to select any specific version from the Git repository, but I'm gonna be sticking with the defaults as well as the flash speed. So now we need to select connect. This will give us the selection for the COM port, and after we hit connect, the device should initialize and we should be able to get the device connected. I'm gonna wait for a few seconds to verify that we got connection, and we did. So we can either manage things on the device, or we can just go in and proceed to install the Tasmota Sensors variant. I'm gonna choose to erase the device and select next. So, and finally select install. Now, depending on your board and computer, this will take a few minutes to finalize. So it failed to enter the bootloader mode. Now let's try. I'm gonna disconnect the board and when connecting, I'm gonna hold the boot button. So this, depending on the variant that you have, you might need to do that. Let's try this again. So I'm gonna select it now, and let's see if that makes any difference. Okay, let's select to erase and install again. And yeah, that seems to be happening now. You can see that it went into erasing mode, and after it's done erasing, it should start installing the firmware. I'm gonna give it a few minutes to finalize, and then I'll come back. Okay, so after a while the device got installed, and we get few options here, but because we don't have Wi-Fi set on it, we need to try and set it from here. Let's see if it's gonna happen. So yep, and we can choose, this is the network, and I'm gonna write down my password. Let's try to connect and see what happens. Okay, device is connected to the network, and now if we press on visit device, we should be able to see the Tasmota interface, and now we need to connect the sensor. Now to connect the sensor to the board, because I have pins on both the sensor and the board, I'm gonna be using Dupont cable like this that are female on the two sides. I'm gonna have links to everything I use down in the video description if you want to replicate the project for yourself. And I'm gonna use brown and red for the power wire. So brown will be ground and red will be 3.3. So we can connect those. So VCC, I'm gonna connect to 3.3, and then ground, I'm gonna connect to ground. And then for the communication wires, let's connect this to here. I'm gonna be using, so yellow will be on SCL, and orange will be on SDA, and SCL, which is the yellow, will need to connect to D22. So these are pins that I've used in the past, and the SDA will need to connect to pin D21. And based on that, we will now need to go into the configuration and update the configuration so the module knows what we have on those pins. Okay, and with the wiring done, we can now go into the configuration under the module, and this will give us the pins that we have on the module, and we will need to specify what we have connected. So the D21 and D22 correspond to the correct GPIO. So on GPIO 21, we have SDA, so we'll need to select that from the menu. So I2C SDA. And then on GPIO 22, we have I2C SCL, and we can now save that. The device will then restart, and hopefully once it does, then we should see the reading from the sensor directly on the board. And after power cycling the device, for some reason at the first reset the module was not recognized, probably because we connected it while it was being powered on. But once I unplugged the USB and plugged it back in, then we started getting all of the values. Currently it's 29.8 degrees here with 37.7% humidity. Dew point is at 13.7 degrees, and the air pressure is at 942 hectopascals. I'm gonna be using temperature, humidity, and pressure for most of the time, and to get this data up on the server. I mean, you can configure this with MQTT to send it to Home Assistant, but I'm gonna configure it so it sends to the platform that I have, which also works through MQTT, which is ding.mk, and I made a previous video regarding it that you can check up here in the corner. I'm gonna have links down in the video description for it as well. Now let's get the values up on the platform. To do the configuration, you're gonna go to configuration and then select MQTT, and you're gonna be adding the information that you need from your MQTT provider, and this will definitely be different regarding what you are using as the server. And after some configuration, I already have the data within the Ding mobile app, as well as I also have it shown here on the device console, as well as the UI for the app. Keep in mind that the MQTT updates happen once every 10 seconds, so there is a slight delay on the data that you're gonna see here, but it should get updated quite regularly. We could employ some rules on the device so that as soon as a change is detected to display it on the app, but the resolution of every 10 seconds is more than enough for my application at the moment. And now the final thing will be to place everything within the enclosure, and for that I'm gonna disconnect the cable that I'll first need to route through some of the holes that I've made on the case. Now this is an electrical box that is smaller in size than the regular boxes that I've used so far. I recently found this in a local store and they are quite useful for devices like this. This is just barely enough so that the USB cable can fit through. I'm gonna just plug it in, and I'm gonna have the device here, and I'm just gonna stuff the sensor closer to here, and I'm gonna close the box. Okay, so slight change in plans. Instead of just having the sensor inside the box and relying on airflow to get updates, I actually placed it so that the sensor, the tip of the sensor, comes out of the box, so we can eliminate any heat buildup inside, and this measures directly on the outside. Everything is now closed and we can go in and install this. If we go into the UI, we're gonna see that it still works. We are getting updates from the sensor as it reads the values, and hopefully it should remain as such in the future. And with all of that said, I want to thank you for watching and ask you to subscribe to the channel so you can see more projects and more devices being built in the future. YouTube thinks that you're gonna like this video next. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them down below, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Cheers!